Hello, my lovelies. Woo here, and welcome to another episode of Somatic Navigation. And today I just want to talk a little bit about, yesterday we talked a little about digestion and things like that. Today I kind of want to talk a little bit about like fat and where it's stored and why we hold on to fat. Fat is kind of a protector. It's an insulator. It helps us with regulating our body temperature, keeping us warm. It also floats, so like swimming and things like that. It actually helps you keep your buoyancy up so that you're not going to drown. It also is a protector for your organs, especially if it's on your abdominal. So those kind of things are things to think about when and where when we're thinking about fat and where it's stored in our bodies. So if you're thinking about like maybe you have some abdominal fat and it's hard to get rid of, you might think about some of the reasons why you're having trouble getting rid of it. So the things that you might ask yourself are what organs am I trying to protect, or maybe in your family lineage, like maybe somebody was stabbed in the gut, that kind of thing. So if you have that in your history that you know of, those are kind of some things that you can consider and think about why you might be storing that stuff. Because it's not always something that you did or things that you're doing to yourself. A lot of people want to just blame it on the things that you're eating, but there's a reason why you're eating what you're eating. And there's something in that food that you're eating that's making you think about something, or it's making you, it's consoling you in some way. And if you get down to the why are you eating this? Why are you consuming this thing? Or why is this kind of stored right here, but my arms and my legs are really thin, but I have some extra abdominal fat. So those are the kind of things that you might consider. And this isn't to shame anybody or make anyone feel bad about themselves. This is just more opening up a conversation for yourself. Forget about everybody else. Forget about things that people say, or and stop trying to like shame yourself about it. It's not about what other people think, what other people say. It's about how you feel, and getting to the why. Why your body is behaving the way it's behaving. A lot of things are very subconscious, so it's hard to kind of get to. So if we're thinking about, again, why you're storing some stomach fat, again, think about those things that you might want to protect yourself. Like, is there a reason that you want to protect yourself? And that's why up here is kind of more, do you want to protect your self-esteem? And that's why you're building up this insulation to protect yourself. Kind of, again, when we get back into like the hips and the thighs and things like that, it might be more protection of like, you just don't want to look appealing to other people because you've had some sort of sexual trauma or things like that. Or maybe it's not even your trauma. It could be a parent's trauma. It could be a grandparent's trauma. It could be a great-grandparent's trauma. Things aren't always exactly yours. Sometimes things get passed down generation to generation, and we hold on to them. And when we hold on to things, that's when things, in our body get a little bit stuck. So if you're holding on to something, you're not really letting your body flow in the way that it should. So other reasons that you might be storing some fat throughout your body are, again, let's go back to floating. So fat floats better than muscle and bone do. So you might have in your lineage, or even in your personal experience, a time where you felt like you were going to drown, or somebody else drowned, or things along those lines, where it would have been very advantageous for you to have had this extra fat storage so that you didn't drown. And you might be trying to protect yourself so that you don't do it again, or you don't repeat your parents, your grandparents, and their parents' mistakes of not having enough fat so that they drowned. Another kind of thing to think about and consider is it's also an insulator. It holds a lot of like calories. So if possibly like you throughout your lifetime you've had a period where you were not able to consume as much food as your body was wanting, whether it just wasn't available to you, you got shamed into not eating it, that kind of thing, then your body might say, oh, I don't know when I'm going to get fat again, so I better store this. If you go back into your lineage, things like that, sometimes with immigration, people didn't have all the food on their journey over to a different country to be able to, or maybe they were starving in their country and they didn't have, all the fat stores to really keep them in a way that they can survive, to make it to the next country. So it's not always your stuff that we're dealing with. Sometimes it's stuff that happened generations back. And this is how things get kind of passed down, those emotional things that get passed down through your DNA and your subconscious of, I need to keep this fat. I need this fat. Like, this is really important for me because if I don't keep it, I'm going to starve and I'm going to die. And your body wants to survive, it wants to adapt, and it wants to thrive. So it's always looking for the way that it can do that. So when we're thinking about all of these things, why is it important for you to have this fat, and why is it important for you to have it in a specific area? Like your legs, for instance, they hold things that are more of a security issue. So if you don't feel very secure in your foundation and supported and things like that, that might try to build up some extra insulation, some extra support, some extra foundation there for you to build upon. And your body's very literal in things. It really, it wants to hold on to things. It wants to be very literal because it wants to tell you something. It wants to tell you something's wrong here. You need to fix it. This has probably been going on for generations and you're repeating the same patterns. And now, if you want to change something, if you don't want to have this particular thing, then you're going to have to figure out what caused it and why it's important for you to now feel secure enough to not need it anymore. And that's what your body is trying to tell you. So again, like maybe with the ankles, for instance, you might have some extra insulation around your ankles, and it could be because having weak ankles was kind of is one of those things that is people talk about. Oh, I have weak ankles and that's why I can't run, or I have weak ankles and that's why I can't do this and I can't do that. And so you're trying to build up that support around the ankles so that you have a sturdy foundation so that you can do the things that you want. And your body doesn't always understand that, like, having the extra insulation isn't always good for you. It's not always helping the way that it's supposed to be helping. It's just, oh, hey, yeah, I can help. I can put some more things here, and I can do this, and I can support you in this way. And if I support myself in this way, then maybe I can move through life into the successful direction that I want to be in. And again, so the reasons why we store fat are there's a purpose, there's a reason. We want to be able to support ourselves in different ways, whether that's in having the enough calories to survive if we go without food, or maybe it's our upper body has a little bit more weight to it, and it's because we need to be big and strong and perceive like we're tough so that we can help survive. I feel like I'm kind of onto something right now that's in me, because I'm having this reaction of like having this dry throat and getting a little choked up over it kind of thing. Like, so now maybe again for me, maybe it's the upper body stuff that I need to kind of work on and get and realize that I don't need to be this big tough person, and that I can be smaller and daintier and still be able to adapt and thrive and not feel like I need to struggle. Maybe my body has been holding on to upper arm fat because it feels like I need to work harder. I need to support myself better, and I need to hold the burden, shoulder the burden, and things along those lines. So that's kind of reasons why you might be holding on to fat. So again, kind of going through a little bit more, what fat actually does for you. It also holds hormones and other nutrients and things like that. So that you can kind of pull from those stores later when you need them. But generally, like, it's coming from some sort of lack. Like the main reason why, like, I lack protection, I lack love, I lack this. Again, kind of with the love thing, going back to self-esteem, and if I don't feel loved, I might keep eating things that are very sugary because I want to support my solar plex, or not necessarily support my solar plex, but I want to trigger my solar plex. I want to provoke my solar plex until I feel like I am satiated. Like, I want to feel like I have enough. And so when you're eating like the sugary things, because that's what your body is craving, you might kind of think about it. Why? Like, you might have had a big fight with your significant other, or a family member, somebody else that you care about, and you don't feel like you got the love and support that you wanted, and you feel this lack. And now you reach for the cupcake because you're hoping that it's going to make you feel better. And what you're doing is just kind of provoking your solar plex. It's provoking your pancreas and your stomach to kind of to do things, and to kind of, it's a way for your body to kind of say, hey, I need support in this area, and this is where I'm having trouble, and so I'm going to keep doing this so that I can get the support that I need in some way. Whether that is, I'm going to keep eating this so that I can build up fat storage somewhere in my body, or I'm going to keep eating this because it's going to hopefully make me feel better in some other way. And again, I'm not trying to trash cupcakes because I love cupcakes, but it's just kind of, sugar's one of those things to kind of, it's an easy example to think about, especially when we're talking about fat storage. Because when you're consuming a lot of empty calories like that, that's kind of how it gets stored in your body. And the reasons why you're emotionally eating something also play a big part in why you feel like you're lacking something, and why your body's like, oh, give it to me, I want it now, and I'm going to store it, and I'm going to keep this forever because that's what's actually going to help me survive. Because obviously I'm not getting it from outside of my body. I'm not getting that love and support that I need from elsewhere. So I need to store it in my body so that I know that I have it for a rainy day if I need it. And so that's kind of why your body stores something, why it does this. It's because it feels like it needs to. It's like, I just need to keep this. And so that's something to kind of consider. Again, this isn't about shaming anybody. This isn't about making anyone feel bad about themselves. This is just being more conscious. This is just being a little bit more in tune with your body. The why is really important. I feel like a lot of times that we forget that. We get shut down and forget about like the why. So I'm going to leave you with this today, is the why. So I encourage you to look for the why you might be doing something. Again, you can check out me and my other videos on Somato Enlightenment on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, and I hope to see you over there.